Okay, so now I got the glass of ice water right here, and I got my temperature probe ready. Hello and welcome to Dave's Aquarium Thoughts. I'm Dave. Today I'm going to be doing a little video on temperature controllers and controlling the temperatures in your aquarium. I am a big proponent of using a temperature controller in your aquarium setup, primarily because it's hard to really gauge the accuracy of the controller on the heater itself. Plus, the temperature controller, the external one, will actually give you a little fail-safe in your system. That way, if the heater gets stuck on in your aquarium, it's not going to be a problem because the temperature controller on the outside is going to shut it off. As well as if the temperature controller on the external one fails, you still have the temperature controller on the heater itself and inside of the aquarium. So it's primarily, you do want to set the heater inside your aquarium to the max heat that you want to have ever. I typically have mine set at like 86. That way if I wanted to go higher to treat like maybe ick or something, I can. But primarily, that's one of the reasons why I do use temperature controllers, and it gives me more control. That way I don't have to constantly fidget with the heater itself. The one thing that a lot of people might miss in setting up their temperature controller is actually calibrating it, which is another thing you can't really do with the regular heater. Is you can't really calibrate the thermometer on there, so you're hoping that that thing's accurate. Personally, right now I have 3 different temperature gauges on these aquariums. I have the external temperature controller, I have the heater itself, as well as an external thermometer that I have attached to the aquarium. All 3 pretty much show different temperatures. So I'm going to calibrate one of them, the one I can, which is the external temperature control. So let me go ahead and show you how you do that. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is a glass of ice water. Simple enough. Get some ice, put it in water, you got your ice water. But primarily why you want to use this is because you're going to kind of know what the temperature is of this ice water. It should read about 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 Celsius. That way you get a little gauge of what you're calibrating the aquarium controller, temperature controller to. You want a known substance of how cold it is or how warm it is. The other way to do is boiling water, because you know that's going to be what, 212 Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. But you probably don't want to be messing around with boiling water, especially around your aquarium equipment. So ice water it is. And I'm not sure if a lot of temperature controllers really like the higher temperatures as well. So one thing you want to do is you do want to mix up. I used crushed ice. So this is crushed ice. So this should get down to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. And of course, the other things you're going to need, of course, is the temperature controller, which is probably already in your aquarium, but probably just kind of remove that temperature controller probe out of the water for about 10 minutes or so. That way you're at least closer to the room temperature. So then once this is mixed, you can take this over to your aquarium and stick your probe in there. That way you could see what the temperature controller is measuring. Okay, so now I got the glass of ice water right here, and I got my temperature probe ready. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and stick that in the ice water. Now, one thing you want to make sure of is you do not want to have your heater plugged in when you do this, because if you do that, it's going to think that your water is getting too cold and your heater is going to turn on and probably maybe get too hot, although you have plenty of time. But you just want to take these precautions just in case you forget. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that in there. And once you have that in there for probably, I'd say probably like a good 10 minutes, then you can actually see what your temperature probe is reading and then calibrate it from there. I wish I had an Inkbird to show you on how to do this, because I know a lot of people use the Inkbirds. Basically all you're going to do is on the Inkbirds is you can go into your calibration settings and then look for that and then adjust the temperatures to where it needs to be in terms of where it needs to be. So when you're doing the ice water, it should read 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. If it doesn't, then you need to adjust it to that point. So let me go ahead and let this sit for a little bit, and then we're going to go into the settings of whatever you're gonna go into the settings of whatever temperature controller you're using. Right now I'm using the Meross Smart Temperature Controller, which I'll probably do a video on that in the near future. But right now I'll show you how to adjust the calibration on that, since I'm doing it right here. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes now, and I'm ready to calibrate my Meross Smart Temperature Controller, which is of course connected to Wi-Fi. But let me go ahead and show you how I do that. Now keep in mind, the one I'm calibrating is going to be for my 40-gallon brooder up here. I know it's sitting down here on my 20-gallon long, but it's just easier for me to get the temperature controller into this ice water on the top of the 20-gallon rather than it is to be on the top of the 40 brooder. So let me go ahead and show you on how to do this. Alrighty, so what you're going to do now is you're going to go ahead and go into your app or your settings of whichever temperature controller you're using, wherever the calibration settings are. So on my Meross Smart Temperature Controller, I will need to go into the app. So let me go ahead and go into the app. I just need to open my phone for that. And there is the settings right there. And as you can see, it is measuring 31.4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about half degree off, about approximately. So what you need to do is you do need to go ahead and calibrate that. So I'm going to go find the calibration settings. It is going to be along these settings right here. So you can go to where it says temperature calibration, which is going to be right in the center of my screen right there, right below the advanced settings. So I'm going to go in there, and right now it shows that it's basically, right now I do have it -0.5, so it looks like the temperature controller was perfect to begin with. So I was messing around with the temperature calibration earlier. I was basing off another thermometer, so I was going to do it the proper way this time. So it looks like I do need to increase it, set up towards 32. Well, it looks like it's off by 0.10, which is it's still a decent amount, but I'm just going to calibrate it to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. So then all you have to do is just hit save, and there you have it. Your temperature controller is now calibrated. Just make sure whatever temperature controller you're using, you're gonna have to find the settings for that. This is for the Meross Smart Wi-Fi temperature controller that I use, that I got off Amazon. So I'll put the link down below. This also will work for other ones as well, like the Inkbirds. So that is how I calibrated my Meross Smart Wi-Fi temperature controller. Like I said, you could do this to other temperature controllers as well. It's just a matter of just going into whatever temperature calibration setting there is on your particular temperature controller. I know Inkbirds have it in there. I'm sure any temperature controller, any good temperature controller you have, will have a way to calibrate it, which is a lot better than using the one on the heater. Because the one on the heater, you know what? You're not going to be able to calibrate that. You probably don't want to stick your aquarium heater inside of an ice bath. So right now I'm currently also calibrating my 20-gallon longs heater. So I'm going to get that calibrated. That way everything's running smoothly. That way I have it running at the exact temperature I need it. Because like I said, the temperature controllers on the heaters, they're showing different than what the temperature controller is, as well as the other thermometers I have on there. So I want to have at least one that's properly calibrated. So anyways, I hope this video is useful for you. I hope you like it. If you do, make sure you do hit that like button. If you want to see other videos down the road similar to this and other things about my aquarium experiences and my journey through it, please hit that subscribe button. Once again, thanks for watching and have a great day.